Ethan Wallace sat behind the wheel of his Mercedes, staring blankly at the rain streaming down his windshield. The hospital parking lot stretched out before him, nearly empty at this late hour. The illuminated sign reading City Hospital glowed against the dark sky, its light reflecting off the puddles that had formed across the asphalt. He'd just left another pointless board meeting, the kind where wealthy donors discussed charitable contributions over wine and catered food while actual sick people suffered floors below them. As CEO of Wallace Industries, a pharmaceutical company his father had built, Ethan was expected to attend these functions, to smile and shake hands and write checks that looked generous but barely made a dent in his company's quarterly profits. At 34, Ethan had everything society said should make him happy. Wealth, success, a penthouse apartment with views of the city, invitations to every exclusive event. What he didn't have was a reason to go home to that empty penthouse. No one waiting for him. No one who cared whether he came home at all. His wife had left him 2 years ago. Tired of being married to a man who was never present even when he was in the room. She'd wanted children, wanted family dinners and weekend trips and a husband who remembered anniversaries. Ethan had wanted to prove himself worthy of his father's legacy, to build the company even bigger, to matter in a way that felt permanent. He'd chosen wrong, and now he sat alone in a car that cost more than most people's houses with no one to call, nowhere to be. Ethan was about to start the engine when he saw her through the rain, a young woman running across the parking lot, carrying a small child in her arms. She wore a thin dress that was soaked through, her blonde hair plastered to her face. The child, maybe 3 years old, was wrapped in what looked like a jacket, but both were clearly drenched. The woman was heading toward the emergency entrance, but she stumbled, nearly falling. Ethan saw her look around desperately, saw her eyes land on his car, the only vehicle nearby with someone inside. She ran to his window and knocked, her face pressed close to the glass. Even through the rain and the tinted window, Ethan could see the terror in her eyes. He rolled down the window, and rain immediately began soaking his expensive suit. "Please!" the woman gasped. "Please, my child is sick. I need help. My phone is dead. I've been walking for miles, and she's burning up with fever. Please, can you help us?" Ethan looked at the little girl in her arms. The child's face was flushed, her eyes glassy, her breathing rapid and shallow. This wasn't a scam or a setup. This was a mother desperate to save her child. "Get in," Ethan said immediately, unlocking the doors. The woman climbed into the back seat, cradling her daughter. Ethan turned in his seat to look at them, and up close he could see that the woman was young, maybe mid-20s, with exhaustion written in every line of her face. "What happened?" Ethan asked, already driving toward the emergency entrance. "We were at the bus stop waiting to come here," the woman explained, her voice shaking. "But the bus never came, and Maya's fever kept getting worse, and I couldn't wait anymore. I started walking, but it's miles from our apartment, and then the rain started, and I thought we wouldn't make it." "You walked miles in the rain with a sick child?" Ethan said, horrified. "I don't have a car," the woman said simply. "I used my last money for her medicine yesterday, but it's not working. She needs a doctor." Ethan pulled up directly in front of the emergency entrance. "Wait here 1 second," he said. He ran inside, his expensive shoes splashing through puddles, and returned moments later with a wheelchair and a nurse. "Sir, wheelchairs are for patients," the nurse started. "This child is a patient," Ethan said firmly. "She has a high fever and needs immediate attention." The nurse's demeanor changed instantly when she saw Maya. She helped transfer the little girl from her mother's arms into the wheelchair, with the mother hovering anxiously beside her. "I'll need to get her information for registration," the nurse said as they moved inside. "I'll handle the registration," Ethan said. "Just get the child to a doctor now." Over the next 3 hours, Ethan found himself in a world he'd never truly entered, despite all his hospital charity events. He sat in the emergency waiting room with the woman, whose name he learned was Lily Hartwell, while doctors examined Maya. "I'm sorry you got dragged into this," Lily said, wrapping her arms around herself. Someone had given her a blanket, but she was still shivering in her wet clothes. "I didn't know what else to do. You were the only person around, and I was so scared." "Don't apologize," Ethan said. "I'm glad you found me. Your daughter needs help." "I know I look like a terrible mother," Lily continued, her voice breaking. "Letting her get this sick, not having money for the doctor, having to walk in the rain because I can't afford a car or even a cab. You look like a mother who loves her daughter and did whatever it took to get her help," Ethan said firmly. "That's not terrible. That's heroic." Lily looked at him with surprise, as if no one had ever said anything like that to her before. "Tell me about Maya," Ethan said gently, trying to distract her from her worry. And Lily did. She told him about how Maya loved stories and drawing, about how she was smart and funny and brave. She told him about Maya's father leaving when he found out Lily was pregnant, about working 2 jobs while trying to finish her teaching certification online. "I used to have more stability," Lily explained. "I was living with my grandmother, and she helped watch Maya while I worked. But she passed away 6 months ago, and I couldn't afford to keep her apartment. Now we're in a tiny studio in a building that probably violates every safety code. And I'm always one emergency away from losing everything." "Today being that emergency," Ethan said quietly. "Yeah," Lily admitted. "I called in sick to both my jobs because Maya was so ill. If I lose either position because of this, I don't know how we'll make rent next month." Before Ethan could respond, a doctor approached them. "Ms. Hartwell, your daughter has a severe bacterial infection. We're admitting her for IV antibiotics and monitoring. She's going to be okay, but she needs to stay here for at least 2 or 3 days." 2 or 3 days? Lily's face went pale. "I can't afford that. I don't have insurance. I thought maybe they could just give her medicine and we could go home." The doctor's expression was sympathetic but firm. "Without treatment, this infection could become life-threatening. I understand the financial concern, but your daughter's health has to come first." After the doctor left, Lily put her face in her hands. Ethan could see her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. "How much do you think it will cost?" she whispered. "Don't worry about that right now," Ethan said. "How can I not worry about it?" Lily looked up at him with desperate eyes. "I'm probably looking at tens of thousands of dollars that I don't have. I'll be in debt for the rest of my life." Ethan pulled out his phone and made a call. "This is Ethan Wallace. I'm at City Hospital Emergency Department. I need you to find the billing department head and have them contact me immediately, regardless of the hour." "Yes, it's urgent. What are you doing?" Lily asked. "Making sure your daughter gets the care she needs without you losing everything," Ethan replied. "I can't let you pay for this," Lily protested. "I don't even know you. You've already done so much just bringing us here." "You can't stop me," Ethan said with a slight smile. "I'm very stubborn when I've made up my mind about something." Over the next 3 days, while Maya recovered in the hospital, Ethan became a constant presence. He brought Lily food and clean clothes. He arranged for her to stay in a parent room at the hospital, so she could be near Maya. He called her employers, himself, and somehow convinced both of them to not only excuse her absence, but to keep her positions open. And most importantly, he simply showed up. He sat with Lily during the long hours when Maya was sleeping, listening to her stories, learning about her life in a way that made his own existence feel shallow by comparison. "Why are you doing all this?" Lily asked on the second day. "I'm nobody to you. You could have just dropped us off and left." Ethan thought about how to answer that. "Do you want the honest truth?" "Always. Because for the first time in 2 years, I feel like what I'm doing actually matters," Ethan said. "I run a pharmaceutical company. I approve budgets and review profit margins and make decisions that affect thousands of people I never meet. But sitting here with you, watching you fight for your daughter, helping in some small way, it feels real in a way nothing in my life has felt real in a long time." "That's kind of sad," Lily said gently. "That you have to come to a hospital to feel like your life has meaning." "It is," Ethan agreed. "I've been going through the motions since my wife left, just existing instead of living. But these past few days I've realized what I've been missing: connection, purpose that isn't measured in stock prices." When Maya was finally discharged, healthy and smiling again, Ethan drove them home to Lily's apartment. The building was indeed as run down as she'd described, in a neighborhood that made Ethan uncomfortably aware of how different their worlds were. "Thank you," Lily said as they stood outside her door. Maya was holding her hand, clutching a stuffed bear the hospital had given her. For everything. I literally don't know how I would have survived this without you. Lily, I need to talk to you about something, Ethan said. Can I come in for a minute? Her apartment was tiny but clean, clearly maintained with great effort despite limited resources. Maya immediately went to a corner where her toys were neatly arranged and began playing. I've been thinking, Ethan began, about what you said, about being one emergency away from losing everything, about how you're trying to finish your teaching certification while working 2 jobs and raising a daughter alone. It's too much for anyone to handle. It's what I have to do, Lily said with quiet dignity. Maya deserves a good life, and I'm the only one who can give it to her. What if you didn't have to do it alone? Ethan asked. What if there was help available? Lily's expression became guarded. I'm not taking charity, Ethan. You've already done more than enough. It's not charity, Ethan said. It's an offer. My company has an early childhood education center for employees' children. We also have an employee scholarship program for people pursuing degrees in education and healthcare. If you came to work for Wallace Industries, Maya would have quality daycare, you'd have health insurance, and you could finish your certification with financial support. Work doing what? Lily asked skeptically. I'm a waitress and a hotel housekeeper. I don't have corporate skills. We have positions in our community outreach department, Ethan said. People who visit schools and community centers, who coordinate our youth education programs. It's actually perfect for someone with your background and aspirations. And the pay is enough that you wouldn't need a second job. Lily was quiet for a long moment, studying his face. Why are you really doing this? Because I want to keep seeing you, Ethan admitted. Because these past 3 days getting to know you and Maya have reminded me what it feels like to care about something beyond the next quarterly report. Because I'm tired of being alone in a world that doesn't need anything from me except money. Ethan, you're a CEO and You're someone who walked miles in the rain to save her child, Ethan interrupted. Someone who works 2 jobs and still finds time to read bedtime stories. Someone who's strong and determined and good. That's worth more than any title or bank account? This is crazy, Lily whispered, but she was smiling. Maybe, Ethan agreed, but sometimes crazy is exactly what we need. Lily did take the job, and it transformed her life in ways she'd never imagined possible. She finished her teaching certification within a year, moved into a safe apartment in a good neighborhood, and watched her daughter thrive in quality childcare surrounded by friends. But more than the practical changes, something deeper grew between her and Ethan. They started having dinners together, taking Maya to parks and museums, building something neither of them had been looking for, but both desperately needed. You saved us, Lily told Ethan one evening. 8 months after that rainy night in the hospital parking lot, you saved me first, Ethan replied, pulling her close while Maya played nearby. You showed me that wealth without purpose is just numbers on a screen. That success without connection is just loneliness in an expensive suit. They married a year later, with Maya as the flower girl, scattering petals with the same joy she brought to everything. And Ethan, who'd once thought he had everything but felt empty, discovered that sometimes the greatest treasures come to us soaked with rain, desperate and afraid, knocking on our window when we least expect it and most need to be needed. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that our greatest moments often come from responding to others' desperate needs with compassion, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories about unexpected connections, the power of showing up, and finding meaning in helping others. Comment below about a time when helping someone in crisis changed your own life, or about someone who showed up for you when you needed it most. Sometimes the people we save end up saving us right back.